jumps. She's at eye level with the box. I mean, that is I would say, disconcerting feeling. When you're about to jump onto an object that is staring you dead in the eyes. Watch it over on the right. As soon as she dips to jump, I mean, those eyes are right there at the top of the box. I mean, we're talking about 5 feet, 5'1" between her and Garibay. This is a very tough movement for both these athletes.
Again, don't stop with the front of your screen. Just Rachel Garibay up there. They have a 14-rep lead, so man, Freedom has closed the gap. Remember, that's about a 30-rep lead a few moments ago.
And they handle the push presses a lot better than they do the back squats on the women's side between Tasia and Lindy. And what I want to see is if they're going to try to catch it, they're 14 reps behind. It is possible. If your transitions between the two can get yourself 1 to 2 seconds per jump, it is possible to chase down this stuff.
Way later cycle time. That stop's got to be deliberate. But Mayhem Freedom a little smoother here. So the cycle time, and you see the reps starting to increase. Again, within 14. Get don't stop. Get these 12 reps remaining before Mayhem Freedom catches up with it.
I think one thing you need to make sure of is that don't get discouraged if you get to the box so far behind your leading team just because of the cycle time you might have versus the other team.
And again, 13 reps, don't stop. Let's move to the final 10. So it looks like they'll be able to haul Mayhem Freedom. Canal is still on that first set. But Upstart had a good game plan. Way in the distance, you see that CrossFit and Fitness X, who had 4th place earlier today, right now in 3rd. In heat number 4, so they're doing what they need to do very, very quietly. But don't stop. After a very disappointing event number 1, trying to chase down 4:17. It's going to be close in at 13:39.
I'm saying, look at the time. 30 seconds, 6 more reps to go. They have 5 more reps to go. And it's, they had a lot of time when they got there, but the time that they're losing in between each jump, because it's 30 for everyone. It's not splitting the difference between 15 and 15 like we saw on the barbell side.
I don't think they're going to get the time to beat, but they'll still have a very solid time. They'll have 2nd place overall because they'll finish ahead of Mayhem Independence, who was 15:20. There they go. As they'll sprint to the lane marker, the chip timer, as Jordan, he's in 13:45. That's good enough for 2nd place and 94 points.
And that's what they needed. We knew that's what they were capable of, and they just had a bad event in event number 1. I don't think that was the tone that they wanted to set coming in, especially just how they, I'd say, kind of called their shot at the regional. They formed a team to win the games, and when you come out with a 29th place finish, that's a little bit of a shot to the ego, I would say, more than a painting of what your team's capable of.
The next time marker to beat will be Mayhem Independence time of 15:20. Will likely have, Mayhem Freedom's got to get in there. They still have 10 of these box, there are now 8 box jumping overs to finish, and less than a minute to pass Independence. That's a nice rivalry inside just the games and the regionals and back to the open.
Oh yeah, and if they tell you any differently, they're wrong. In fact, actually, they were very honest and open about their rivalry before their team, because I think the only team they actually care about beating is their main Independence team. And they said earlier in the demo that Independence actually beat them in practice. They took it here in the games. And in kind of a good little back and forth between those two, Independence can hold them off for event number 2.
Right now, don't stop. 2nd overall in event 2. 4:17 has 100 points. They were in the prior heat at 13:39. Then don't stop. Won this heat. And they'll be one of the few teams, Rich Roy and the crew, will get across the finish line. They chip timer in lane number 7. Very good day in the Midway. Another top 5 for Mayhem. 15:27 overall. That should put them 4th or 5th here in event number 2. And not just the teams in this heat, but in the prior 3 heats. Coming up with a 16-minute time gap as Invictus X has had a solid day as well. Ooh, let's see if that chip timer registered.
I don't know the slide is working, but it was pretty cool.
stop, 94 points. They won the heat. They will finish second overall in the event. And again, after don't stop, got the 29th, came back for second place. Very happy here to Sheila Martin, Rachel Deerby.
Don't stop coming in, that 29th place finish in event number 1. And, Mayhem came out to actually a very early lead in the heat, but towards the end, was struggling a little bit on this last set of 10, and it was the sub 5-minute 30 single muscle-ups that put Don't Stop into the lead, and then they never looked back. I think George said he thought he was going to struggle on the box. He handled that just fine, and Rachel Deerby and Sheila Martin, some of the shortest athletes on the women's side, 4 teams, handled the 36 inches just fine. Second place overall finish for Don't Stop, a great bounce back event for that team.
And there you are, second place in event number 1 in the heat. Amanda Prince has a chance to talk to Don't Stop.
No doubt that wind was a factor in this event, but you guys are some of the fittest people on earth. So how do you adjust to that? How does your game plan change when you come out here onto the competition court?
I think the wind doesn't really affect you because you go into a zone that you don't know what's happening around you. So you look at your rings, you wait for them to be close enough, yell go, and then wait for everybody at the top of the rack. And that's where we made up time, is we would just wait for each other. Where I feel like other teams weren't waiting and getting a rep. That helped us a lot.
Jordan, I know you were a little bit concerned about the box jump overs. What's your vertical like?
It's not very good. That's probably like 90% for me. So I'm happy, 99. So I was happy to get 30 of those.
Why do you think you were able to do that out here?
Adrenaline, we're at the meetings. It's a big stage. You go every year. So you're able to do a lot of stuff you're not able to do here.
Well, great event too for you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, they are 94 points here in event number 2, and boy, that bumped them way up the leaderboard. As we take a look at the event results, it was 4-7 in the third heat. They hang on 13-39. Don't Stop makes the big move. Independence gets the win over Freedom, but Freedom has an event win and then top 5.
A good little back and forth between the two. And Freedom takes a one over Independence. Independence takes event number 2.
And what you know, as you take a look at the overall standings, that rivalry is going to be fun to watch because it's Freedom and Independence, and the big move of the day, Don't Stop went from 29 into the top 10.
And it's good to see, how incredible is it to qualify 2 teams for the CrossFit Games? What a story would be if both of them could end up on the podium.
That's 24-point lead right now for Mayhem Freedom, but plenty of time to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's it for team competition on day 1. We still have a whole weekend to go, so a lot is going to happen. That's it for team competition on day 1, but still our coverage will continue. So for Chase Ingram, Amanda Prince, I'm Jeff Brightwell. Day 1 of the Reebok CrossFit Games.
It's somewhat a little bit different, Chase. We start things off with a carry, a different little twist to the carry. They have yoke carries, litter carries. We work our way down the floor as we get to the ropes. Get to that O course, a little bit of a change there on the team side, but they still have to navigate that through together as a unit. Run back to the stadium out here, and then they go back to the final rope climbs and carries. The unique twist on the ropes, they have a skinny rope, a normal rope that we're used to, that thick rope. And just on the individual side, that carry back should be as interesting as we saw the individuals do.
Here's a look at how they will line up for heat number 1 of 4 heats in event number 3. And Lone Star CrossFit currently in 31st. They're in lane 5 and lane 6, 1-2-1, sitting in 32nd. Underway in day 2 is event number 3, and a pair will carry the yoke, a pair will carry the litter that we first saw a couple of seasons ago in Team Earth. And these are 44-foot sections. If you need to switch it up at any point, you can, but these teams look like they're having very little trouble going to full 132 feet.
I tell you what, I think that went a lot faster than anybody had really anticipated on the way out. This, in terms of speed is concerned, is that what you want to do is take those litters across the field as fast as you can, because you can come back and aid those carrying the yokes.
At this point, each team member must do 2 rope climbs. As Chase said earlier, you will go the standard rope, and there is a thicker rope. The fat rope is second. You can go in any order if you fit.
And what's nice here is that you don't have to wait for your teammates to all complete one rope. You can kind of move through, get your work done, and get out of the way. More a combo line style than it is a relay style on each individual rope. So you want to put your best climbers first, get your other ones a little bit of work. Your grip's not going to be taxed too much from the litter carries you saw lasted about 10 to 15 seconds. So grip should be good to go. On the way back, however, after that oak course, it's going to be a little different story.
Weather conditions, Paul, probably about 75 degrees. A nice day to get outside of the gym here in the York Arena, the Alliant Energy Center for the team. Mountain Ground brought to you by United States Marine Corps. New wind to blow the ropes as we saw the rings get moved around a little bit on Wednesday.
That's a better idea to see how thick that rope actually is. And the challenge there is twofold. One, just having the grip to hang onto the rope. 2 is that it challenges the foothold a lot more than a skinnier rope. You're able to wrap your foot around it a little bit with more ease than you do with that thick rope.
So teams start to come off of the ropes, so they make a left turn, come back to the right as you see out of the stadium, and they'll make their run over to the oak course.
And we've seen this before in terms of team runs. Most of the runs in the past games has been with pairs. We've seen it on a mile time trial. We've seen it on the run, swim, and run from last year. This is the first time we've seen all these athletes have to run together with that rope. And I like seeing the kind of stagger on each side where you're not really going to jam up. And this is more just a transitional piece. You're not really going to win the event on the first transitional run to that oak course. So it's more just kind of getting your bearings, getting your feet underneath you. A lot of times just get your nerves back in. They've had a day off, they've had 1 day of competition to this point, but letting the nerves kind of settle in on the run, kind of a little bit of a chatter. How does everybody feel? Who wants to lead on the first obstacle? Do they get to do it all at the same time? So it's kind of a time where you just gel together a little bit more than a big part of an event.
2 teams coming by the campground, and that specifically is what we have coming up.
I've already had to carry the 2 rope climbs per person, 1 on the thin rope, 1 on the thick rope. And we are working our way to the oak course. And something I would say is easily missed in that description is how far this run is for the teams. It's about 1,300 meters in total. They have to run to the course and run back from the course. However, that course moves around. So you're looking about at least a 600 to 700 meter run in the middle of this event on both ends of the oak course.
Quite significantly early on now, the oak course is the X factor in this event. They're out of Auckland, New Zealand, into Baldwin, Rachel Palmer, Michael Patterson, and Dylan Ty are the 4 members who currently they have a lead over the short wall.
Here's the deal with this oak course. It's not hard to do. It's just tricky. And then when you have this mass flood of athletes coming to the oak course, this is a first come, first serve obstacle course. It has enough obstacles where it can only fit about 5 people across. So we've already gone through the hurdles, now to the rope wall. It's about 10 deep when you get to the rope wall. When you get to the low end, then you have to crawl underneath. It gets a little bit shorter. Part of that is only room for 5 individuals at a time. So this bottleneck, that's why it's so vital as a team to get to the oak course first from the first portion of this event.
One team member at a time, obviously over the ropes, and they have that cargo crawl. That's cargo crawl. You see it on your screen, Chase, is where things are going to get really bottled on you. You're going to be cramming, depending on how many teams get there at
So what's also important to see is that look at all these people standing idle on the other side of the rope wall. You have to wait for all of your team members before you can advance to the next section.
See it, just down behind that wall, and when I see this chase, reminds me of the late Lee Irving sitting on top of the wall, trying to get by the pile across it. Here we go, the rope's going to keep them in that line mark, staying in your lane.
You see only one athlete can go at a time. Once they cross over the other side, however, the other teammate or person in line can go because the teams don't get to designate a lane for their team only. If you have a slow athlete to get in line, they're in line behind whoever is in line. Just because your team goes first, doesn't mean all teammates get to sit in that.
15.5 feet. You do have to put both legs over the top of this high rope wall, over this cargo line. After that, you can come from high on the net, as you just saw that athlete do there from the wall. However, you can't flip over the wall. It's going to be one leg at a time.
You can flip, now you can drop at a height that you're comfortable with. We've seen some athletes on the individual side do that by accident and get to the ground as fast as you can. I don't recommend that. It's also known as falling. Probably not the most safest way to get down from the cargo net.
So it's almost like it's standing in the distance followed by Lone Star. Lone Star getting to the pylons quickly, and now we got a little bit of race going. It's starting to shorten up moving over course.
This is what is going to be fun, is that now you can go side by side or across as you follow the leader on these ropes. And the problem is, you can see on the left side, is that if you go too fast, it's really hard to maintain the vertical height of each rope. So what you want to do at the start is jump as high as you can to get away from the ground as far as possible. Because you can navigate from rope to rope, you're going to lose some height unless you have the grip strength to stay as high as you can.
Tabby Lone Star on 1-2-1. Team cross through your 4 teams to get you there. Now you see them running through there, right? Jason.
And that was the change to the course on the team, that block transfer that we saw the individuals do. If you watched the games last year in 2017, that block transfer it became very boring to watch because not all 16 members could navigate. So they've taken that out to drive the intensity of the course. Instead of worrying about the technique or intricacies of going from lot to lot, they've removed it to push the intensity and level of competition on the course for the teams.
So Becky already on their way. That also works did not give them a whole lot of trouble. Very smooth for the entire course.
This is a different course for the teams because one of these athletes not wearing that weight vest. That's what the individuals have to do. Imagine going through that entire course. You saw it wasn't easy. It was just fast. Imagine doing that with a 20-pound vest for men and 14 on the women's side. So the course for the teams is more about speed and intensity than it is about navigating this. It's more of a look capacity style.
As in years past, we've had monkey bars. You can alternate bars except for the first and the last. Both hands must touch the first and last bar. You see the right side of your screen, that's his Bernardi, and then you'll see Lone Star 1-2-1 way back to the left. I would say that's a good 75 to 100 foot lead they have right now. So let's run back to the North Park Stadium.
And this is that run where, I said the first run doesn't need to be fast, but the second run can't be slow. These seconds are going to matter. On the individual side, dummy drag down the floor, you needed to save something for the end just because how challenging it was. What we saw at the beginning of this event with that litter carrier, that was not an issue whatsoever. So the race is from course to ropes, through the ropes, and then by the end, there really shouldn't be too much to lose on the final area of this event.
About a 10-second lead for Izabaki on this run. Doesn't sound like a lot unless you're running. 10 seconds is a long time. They will be making a turn to the right of your screen here shortly and entering back to the North Park Stadium. And they will head to lane number 7 and come back for the rope lines. But if you take a look on the right side of your screen, even though Izabaki had an easy time, a lot of teams struggling back on the old course.
You got teams struggling down on the